very, very negative things to say about it.
Just made the crowd cringe.
You know, kind of a little bit of an insult to some of the hard work that the other students have done.
As animators, we all want to create characters that everyone recognizes. Now my character got recognized. But I didn't want it like this. Yeah, I created the Howdy Mobile. And the funny thing was, it was just an accident. I didn't mean it to be this well-known thing, and I say well-known with quotation marks because it's very AI of Ohio-Cincinnati based, but still, it's oddly a thing that transcends not just the animators, but not even just the student body, but for some reason, the staff, everyone knows a Howdy Mobile. It's just, it's weird. It's weird, and again, I didn't mean it to happen like this.
It was supposed to be a futuristic vehicle and animation, and you know, in Perry's mind, that was the Howdy Mobile. You know, very simplified unicycle type vehicle in a city with Boobs Tower.
We had to model a futuristic vehicle, and then we had to animate it, and I was in the class with Perry and Cole.
Your final exam was make this animation. And this is what he thought was acceptable to put up. And I loved it.
At the same time I had this class, I also had a 2D class where I was definitely thriving in.
You know, at the time he was working on other things that there were more important projects to him. He was working on a pilot episode for a 2D cartoon, which is what he really specializes in.
That whole quarter was the turning point as to me wanting to be a 2D animator over a 3D animator. So I was actually putting a lot of time and effort into making my beats per second pilot. I worked really hard on that and just neglected a bunch of my other classes.
Procrastination was his main process. Presentation of it was freaking fantastic.
Camper asked, who wants to go first? Raised my hand immediately. I got that bad boy up, and Camper just looks at me like, all right, Perry, go up. So I go up and I put it in, and there she is, the Howdy Mobile.
I will admit, I thought it was pretty lame. I thought it was kind of a cop-out for the project. I know that Perry doesn't really like 3D, so, you know, at first I thought it was, you know, kind of a little bit of an insult to some of the hard work that the other students had done.
I saw it and I hated it because it just kind of seemed like a lack of effort and kind of a joke project.
Everyone was speechless. Nobody said anything. I think that there was just shock. Everybody was shocked at what they had seen.
People were just stunned. They didn't know what to say. And it was almost as if they weren't sure if they were allowed to laugh because they just saw something just baffling in front of them. Not good baffling, but just baffling.
This was just such a shocking thing that was presented, you know, as a final project again. I thought that it was just really funny as what it was. And I don't know why. There was just something about it.
But we thought that was it. We thought that those 3 stupid little jokes were gonna be the end of it. Little did we know, that was not the case.
I remember the first time I saw Howdy. I was getting off an elevator and he surprised me. He was getting off the elevator and the first thing he did was go, "Howdy!" I've never been howdied in my life. I didn't know how to react.
I think that live action creation of it was a nice interpretation by Cole, and I think it kind of added to the mythology of the Howdy Mobile.
Cole comes up to me and he asked me, "Hey, would it be okay if I actually made a Howdy Mobile?" And I'm like, I was stunned in a way because I never had anyone ask me if they could use my work in anything, and to me, I just thought, yeah, it's okay.
I put together a real-life Howdy Mobile. I went home a couple weekends during this time and kind of whipped him up with my dad.
One of the best experiences ever, one of my favorite projects, but hated it all the way. Lugging that damn thing around was a pain in the ass.
Having Niall carrying it around in the shots was again pretty low tech, but hilarious nonetheless.
You know, come to final completed thing, we have this very heavy, inconvenient shaped, thing that, it can't hold itself up. It's top heavy, it's inconvenient, the wheel doesn't even roll by itself, it's held on with coat hangers.
It was just really funny. It was really put together well. You could tell they had fun doing it, but at the same time, they were just like, let's get this over with.
I was actually in the motion graphics class. I worked on one of the other projects, the Antonio's Pizza project, so I actually got to see it when it dropped live.
But I actually wasn't part of this at all. I take that back. I was part of it, but at the very end, as the creator, and I died. It was funny.
Eventually, we brought Perry in and we said, all right, he's gonna go to Boop's Tower. He's gonna find Perry, who's talking about how great the Howdy Mobile is, and he's just gonna run him over.
It was interesting to see kind of like this BS thing basically become like so popular that it's morphed into like an actual live action thing. It was weird, but interesting.
But like most people, I think it kind of grew on me as it appeared in more things, and I realized this thing has somehow become less of a joke project and more of just a joke.
You know, after that live action Howdy Mobile, I got more requests to use the Howdy Mobile in other people's projects and models as well. People were asking me for the file with the original Howdy Mobile and the Howdy Mobile soundbite, the actual Howdy. I know Casey Shields had something. There was a really nice model that was made by Steve Hopper. As part of Theater Troupe, it also made a cameo or two in a couple of the theater productions, including an improv show or two. Also in a movie that we directed, beta test.
Eventually it found its way to the improv show, which I think really kind of spread the word of the Howdy Mobile to people that didn't know what it was. They just saw this big, hilarious prop at the improv show, and I think a lot of people, that's what they know it from. They didn't really know anything past the fact that it was based off of this awful animation.
The first time I saw it was Perry's final, where it was supposed to be the motion tracking project, and it was basically just a little character that was just running around, didn't motion track at all, of Perry's, I'm assuming, bedroom, and just a 2D drawing that wasn't even animated. It just kind of moved on screen. So that was my first introduction to the Howdy Mobile.
So one day, the Howdy Mobile just went missing. Nobody knew what happened. We just knew he was there, and then he wasn't.
Cole and I and Eric and Andrew were filming a project that it was a pretty big project. And when we got kicked out, we had the Howdy Mobile, and we didn't want to take it down because it's kind of heavy. So Cole decides to put it in front of the Dean of Student Affairs, Bonnie Burns, and in front of her office. Now she wasn't there, and we just decided, she'd probably, keep it in her office, and so no one messes with it. And
because we don't want anything to happen to him. I mean, it's kind of weird because at the same time I don't care that much, but I guess I've grown attached to him, so I didn't want anything bad to happen to it.
So the next day we go and we look for the Howdy Mobile. It's nowhere to be found. And we're getting a little nervous because we asked Bonnie about it, and she says that she didn't see it. Now at this point, Cole and I are wondering, did the custodians at night throw it away?
So, while I'm still a little bit concerned, Perry and I run outside to the dumpster. We don't ask anybody else. We just run outside to the dumpster. We open it up, and no Howdy Mobile. We opened up the compost bin, and no Howdy Mobile. And I thought, what if he's in the compactor? What if somebody threw him in the compactor on the side of the building and he got crushed? And at the time, I thought it was funny. I thought someone just decided to crush the Howdy Mobile. So we go over there, but we can't look into it. And ultimately, that's what I thought happened.
We thought someone threw this thing out. But then the first video showed up.
But then I thought, of all the people that would steal the Howdy Mobile, it would be Eric Camper, because he hated the Howdy Mobile. There's no way that he could just let this joke keep festering around the building when it was presented as his final project. He had to do something about it. He had to put an end to it.
Well, yes, when the Howdy Mobile was stolen, they came into one of my classes and had the very accusatory look on their face. And as much as I protested, they didn't believe me. And it was because somebody made an animation about it and posted it on Facebook, and they thought it was me, but it was not.
Cole and I were accusing everybody of stealing the Howdy Mobile. We started accusing students, we started accusing professors.
So everybody was on the search, and I'm in the middle of teaching a class, and out of nowhere comes Cole, pointing fingers, throwing accusations.
I got pulled out of one of Camper's classes, and for a bit after like a presentation or whatever, and they put me in the audio room, and they asked, "Do you know where Cole looked at me like, do you know where the Howdy Mobile is?" And I'm like, I didn't even know it was stolen.
They stormed into my class one day, and they thought I took it for some weird reason. And I had to explain myself, basically saying I did not take such a big thing that I'd have nothing to do with.
Cole barged into the room, kind of pointed his finger at me and yelled at me, "Did you steal the Howdy Mobile?" It kind of floored me, actually. I just kind of stared at him like...
I was kind of accused in a joking manner. So it was kind of like they just ran out of people to accuse, so they accused me for like 5 seconds. So it didn't really bother me at all.
And then we started accusing each other. And I got a little heated for like 5 seconds.
So I charged back into his classroom and I accused him again. I did this probably 3 times. 3 or 4 times I kept going back in and saying, "You're lying to me. You stole him and I'll find him." Little did I know that Bonnie was behind the whole thing.
Fun fact about that, I knew Bonnie stole the Howdy Mobile because Gwen told me, because Gwen knew.
But turns out Bonnie did steal it, and her husband, who is an animator of sorts actually, was making all the Howdy Mobile ransom videos, and that's why we couldn't trace it to anybody. It was a pretty clever ruse, Bonnie. You got us. You got us.
When I finally found him, it wasn't really that exciting. I just was like, here he is, everybody. And then I just threw him down on the ground and got back to work.
Talked about the Howdy Mobile. We decided that you had to have a friend.
The welcome wagon. Well, you know, it came out of nowhere. First off, I don't know how he stayed in the box that long. You know, they cooped him up in a little box. They had to show a whole video before he was allowed to come out. That was crazy.
So, you know, for that I spent a couple nights staying up and completely remaking the Howdy Mobile as this character that I thought of, which was just inverting the colors, just reversing the color palette on him, and changing it from a circle to a square. So just pretty much a straight-up knockoff of the Howdy Mobile.
Cole created the welcome wagon. We were ready to, make this thing, and we were trying to keep this really, really secret. Only maybe a handful of people knew about the welcome wagon. We really tried to keep this under wraps. And when the meeting eventually wasn't finished, we're thinking, okay, we have this welcome wagon, and we still want to release it somehow, because it's really funny. And I knew that under the right circumstances, it could be really funny, but for 2 quarters, we had to keep that thing in hiding, and we didn't know what to do with it. We eventually did find a fun and creative way to release our new pink cubed friend into the wild.
We had this new idea that the perfect finale, the last thing that both of us were going to do since Perry was graduating, was to create a kind of full-length mini-film about the welcome wagon, where we would also remake the old Howdy Mobile animation and just bring it all together as one new piece. And, start around the welcome wagon.
I was at the film festival, and it was spectacular.
I had to be there for presenting Heartstrings, and I had no idea that was happening, the reveal of Welcome Wagon. So when it happened, I was just kind of, they're doing another joke. A+ presentation. I mean, I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
It looked like you were seeing Santa Claus for the first time.
I also helped them film the original video where the welcome wagon was supposed to be released. So it was exciting, a lot of waiting, and the payoff was spot on.
And so it was just a big release of the welcome wagon. And, just about everyone in the room, had their chuckles, had their laughs. Everyone loved it. And we thought that was the end of it. We thought that was the end of it.
There was backlash against the welcome wagon, but he's such a nice guy.
I went back to my classroom and, I sat down, and a lot of people had very, very negative things to say about it, that they didn't get the joke, or they just completely missed it, and it was alarming. I thought it was completely harmless.
We're done, we're excited, we're like, man, that was a great way to end the whole Howdy Mobile saga, if you will. We were done. It's finished. And maybe an hour later, we go into one of the rooms where a bunch of our friends were, as well as other animators. And Cole and I walk in, and right as we open the door, there was a big group, maybe 10 people, took Cole and I out into a separate hallway, into a separate room, And they told us that a couple people were offended by the welcome wagon.
Well, I can see it being in both kind of spectrums. You know, I can understand the crowd not being very happy with it because this is a legitimate film festival where people want to submit good work that they've put a lot of time into.
Offended by the welcome wagon.
You know, when it was presented at the film festival, there was laughter. It was funny and it was a good-natured thing. But then we got back, and you know, there were some people that just really didn't like it. And so to see like this completely positive response and then this completely negative response was so strange, and it really showed this kind of divide between the two.
Offended by the welcome wagon.
I was a little bit offended.
We're told that people had a problem with, you know, the Howdy Mobile welcome wagon film being presented in the festival. And it kind of just baffled me at first.
And then at the same time, I mean, as long as it's funny, like as long as it's making people laugh, then it really shouldn't be all that serious or something to get bent out of shape about.
It was probably one of the most ludicrous things I've ever heard. Just terrible. But you know what though? It actually made me really, really happy. It fed me that someone got bent out of shape because we made a stupid box that smiled and blew up a lot of things that we found funny.
Yeah, I mean, with me personally, as long as, because I've seen worse. Like, believe me, I've seen much worse that just made the crowd cringe and just question why they even watched it in the first place. And those films that I remember were more serious films. They weren't even funny. So the fact that this was just kind of this ridiculous kind of pseudo Adult Swim type of YouTube atmosphere, I wasn't bothered by it. I thought it was entertaining.
But, you know, to me it just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a very logical thing to just find yourself getting upset over.
You know, this Howdy Mobile, how it started, it was just a stupid project just to get through a class. I didn't expect anything to happen like this, and I didn't wish for anything to happen like this. I mean, if anything, I have other characters. I would love to have people come and say, wow, I love this character, or I love that character. You know, they're great. The people here at my college know me for creating the Howdy Mobile.
But it's strange that something, you know, as crude as taking a final project and just having this awful presentation for it could lead down the road that it has and ultimately result in creating all of these different, you know, films and short animations and, you know, bringing people together in a way. It's something people, you know, it's something to talk about.
Well, I will say that, you know, after my initial thinking that it was, you know, not such a great project, I will admit that it grew on me. It's definitely a funny design, very irreverent.
Out of everything, why is it gotta be the Howdy Mobile that made it so freaking popular?
Him and Howdy Mobile, you know, I think they're here to change the school for the greater good. Yeah, I think he's making a big difference here.
I mean, people from different departments know what it is, from different programs know what it is.
It became kind of a meme in the school, And I felt it was actually kind of like an organic mascot for the animation program, not to mention the whole school.
It's been this like big meme across the school, and was kind of the unofficial mascot of not just the animation department, but everything.
I've always joked about it, but I think of it almost as like our school's mascot in a way. It's the one thing that everybody knows. Everybody sees it when you walk through the hallway with it. Someone says, "Someone's got the Howdy Mobile out again. I wonder what they're up to."
Well, personally, I'm trying to join the team. You got Howdy Mobile, you got Welcome Wagon. You know, I need to be part of that team. You know, I can say hello. I can greet people. Why can't I join the team?
So we're all doing our improv show. The sign just for the improv show had the Howdy Mobile like getting closer. It said "Follow your dreams," and it was just like submitting as like, oh, that's Perry's call sign.
The Howdy Mobile has a life of its own now. I'm baffled, but in an odd way, I'm kind of oddly honored. It's weird, you know. I even kind of feel weird saying honored about that.
I mean, some people love it and some people hate it, and I'm at a loss for words.
I love how it started out as like a stupid BS kind of thing for a project that Perry didn't want to do, and I loved how it started as that and has evolved into this like thing that's become bigger than it actually is.
I think that for some people that weren't in on the initial kind of birth of the Howdy Mobile, they're just like, this inside joke, I don't get it, you know, because we're all cracking up about it. But I think once they are brought into the fold, they catch on, and they're gonna get their Howdy Mobile tattoo soon.
I think it really pushed the medium to whole new levels. I've never seen anything quite like it. It blew my mind.
As ridiculous as it looks, I think it's able to make a lot of people laugh during times of frustrations and stress that they're dealing with school and other outside stuff that they're dealing with. So, yeah, I have no beef with the Howdy Mobile.
Wow. All I can say is wow. Good stuff.
Something that can strangely symbolize all of us on the inside. We're all a little Howdy Mobile, or a little Welcome Wagon. I mean, whichever shape you are, we all smile. And that's what it's all about.
It was a wild ride. But I honestly can't say that I would have changed it for anything. It's the Howdy Mobile.